forth Mazzaroth in his season, or canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? The Mazzaroth, it's amazing how many commentators haven't done their homework. They don't know what the Mazzaroth means. They make a few guesses. The Mazzaroth is the Hebrew term for what you and I would call the zodiac. And what's that all about? The sun has an apparent path through the sky, through the year. And that apparent path is called the ecliptic. 15 degrees on either side of that, 1 hour on either side of that, so to speak, there's a band of convenience. Within that band, there are 12 groups of stars that have names. We know those names from the secular world. What's astonishing is the names are the same throughout all cultures on the planet Earth in the secular world. They go by different languages, but they're essentially the same legends and same stories, pretty much. What's interesting is they all date back to the Tower of Babel. What's even more interesting is they had names before Babel. We are familiar with the corruption of those names throughout pagan history. We use pagan names because they're convenient. That's right. If you want to tell us, see, if you're looking for a star, it's in the constellation of such and such. Someone's interested, it's a stargazer, knows exactly where to look by the hour angle, the declination, and so on. Well, what's interesting, you all may have attended planetarium shows in which they try to tell you that, well, those, here's the Big Dipper. That's called the Big Bear. Or what's a better example is Cassiopeia. It looks like a bent W up there. Well, that's the lady chained in the chair. And they try to tell you that those names are legends that the ancients inferred by the arrangement of the stars, and nothing could be sillier because in no way does that bent W look like a lady sitting in a chair. You follow me? They just have passed on traditions, not knowing the origin. What you need to know in each of these clusters of stars is the names of the stars in the order of their brightness. And you need to know the names in Hebrew. If you can't find the Hebrew names, you can find typically the Arabic names and make some guesses of how it fits together. And you discover something interesting. The names of the stars in the order of brightness suggest a story. The story can be embodied in a picture that is associated with a group of stars. But it's not because of the arrangement, it's because of the names of the stars in the order of brightness. Now, you discover, when you look at the 12 constellations, you discover that they portray the plan of God from Virgo, the virgin birth, to Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah. And you need to know the names. Why does Virgo, it's a virgin, and she's carrying an ear of corn in one hand? And you remember what Christ said? And how is the virgin associated with an infant? It's a virgin birth. It gets complicated. I won't try to go through the whole thing. We have a briefing package called Signs in the Heavens. A number of the great scholars, E.W. Bullinger, J.A. Seiss, and 2 or 3 others, have written books on this in the past. We put a synthesis together and did a briefing package on it if you're interested in this area. But it's interesting. There is a widespread belief among the Persians and others that the Mazzaroth was used to teach the children God's plan long before the Tower of Babel. What happened at Babel is that got corrupted with pagan relabeling. And that's what we're all victims of. Follow me? It also turns out those 12 constellations are identified with the 12 tribes of Israel. And the standards are associated with that. With Judah, the lion Judah's path was the lion, and Reuben the man, Ephraim the ox, and Daniel, and so forth. So there's a lot of things going on here about the Mazzaroth, which is the Hebrew term for the zodiac. Don't misunderstand. We're not talking astrology here. We're not talking that kind of thing. We're talking just the ancient background of the names of those groupings. Anyway, let's move on. We're down to verse 33. God challenged Job, knowest thou the ordinances of heaven? Canst thou set the dominion thereof in the earth? Canst thou lift up thy voice to the clouds, that abundance of waters may come to thee? Okay, now